What's up, folks, and welcome to another edition of A Chat with the Pack with myself, Kyle, and my co-host, the legendary Drew Blazer. We're going to be starting this with one off in a great way. Speaking of legendary, but I think he's already legendary. I'm sure you would agree. Arguably one of, if not the greatest shooter. Steph Curry made his return this past weekend against the Toronto Raptors. Not really a Golden State Warriors fan, but man, I am happy to see him back.
No, yeah, you got to have guys like this, ready to go and not on the sidelines injured. So, yeah, it's good to have him back.
Absolutely. And, with Steph Curry is the guy that watching him makes the league more fun. You talk about people who change the sport, who transcend sports, and they cause like a paradigm shift, basically, which we'll get into paradigm shifts here in a little bit. But you want to talk about somebody causing an actual paradigm shift, it's Steph Curry. Look at the league, the year that they won.
Yeah.
There was all the talk about a shooting team will never win the NBA Finals. They're the best team in the NBA during the regular season, but they will never go to the NBA Finals, and if they do, they won't win. And then they won. The entire landscape of the league has changed, and it's because of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson.
Oh, yeah, no question about it. And was that Charles Barkley who was saying that? Or
It was in fact Charles Barkley. I knew you would remember that. I didn't want to name names, but it was Charles Barkley that said that. Yeah. And to his credit, up to that point in history, that had been true.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't trying to throw any blame around, but yeah.
No, absolutely not. But there's no denying that he's changed the league. And the fact that he's already on pace to break the record for, most three-pointers made, there's no denying to me that he's probably the best shooter of all time.
Oh, yeah. If not, he's definitely top three, maybe?
Yeah, no, he's got to be top three. I think your top three is going to be, no matter who you ask, people who analyze the league, I think your top three is always going to be Ray Allen, Steph Curry, and Reggie Miller.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that, yeah.
Well, see, that says it all. You knew I was going to say those three, but you knew I was going to say those three for a reason.
Just didn't know which order, but I knew it'd be those three. Yeah.
And to me, it's not even necessarily in that order. To me, at this point, if you would have asked me a few years ago, it would have been Ray Allen, Reggie Miller, Steph Curry. Now I've got it Steph Curry, Ray Allen, Reggie Miller. That's how phenomenal of a shooter he is. He's transcended that level just within a few years.
Yeah.
And you add in, his first game back was a little rough. He did have 23 points. He was only 25% from three. Looked like he had struggled to get a shot going. He did pull up from deep for a little bit. I think he was 8 for 8 from free throws, so that's good to see. They did still lose to the Toronto Raptors, but this is also a struggling Warriors team. But just seeing him out there, getting his flow back, I think that's the most important part right now.
Yeah, so I was going to ask, do you agree that it's best to just go ahead and play them, even though their season's pretty much over?
So, yes, I do, and let me explain why. Because to me, if you just play Steph Curry, Klay Thompson's out for the year. He's not coming back.
No.
Andrew Wiggins has been kind of hit or miss with the Warriors, and as a Timberwolves fan, boy, that sounds familiar.
Yeah. Yep.
I like Andrew Wiggins, but he's hit or miss, and that's the problem with him is how inconsistent he is. But the reason you bring back Steph Curry is you're already locked for a draft lottery pick. You're already going to be one of the three worst records in the league, if not the worst record in the league. You currently have the worst record in the league. The closest teams to you are the Cavs and the Timberwolves. You're probably going to get a top three pick at this point no matter what. But the thing with Steph Curry is, like I said, he struggled from shooting for a little bit in that game, right? Well, get him reacclimated now so that next season you're a contender again.
Yeah, no, completely right.
If he's healthy enough to play, like I'm hearing right now he has the flu, everyone's freaking out. They thought he had the coronavirus because he's sick. He's got the flu, which, by the way, on a completely different topic, having the flu is worse than having the coronavirus. Anyway, back to the topic. You want to have him playing because you want to get him acclimated now versus, hey, he was healthy in March, but we're going to wait till October to get him in a live game.
Yeah. No, you got to.
You're just adding more rust at that point. It's one thing practicing, it's another thing playing. And I think we see this with Oladipo as well.
Yeah. Oh, very true.
is if you looked at any footage of him practicing before his return, the guy looked phenomenal. You were watching the guy play, and you were like, holy crap, he's going to come back better than ever. And then he struggled.
Yeah, I mean, when you're just...
You've got to give these guys...
Yeah. No, like when you're
time.
practicing just by yourself, you have nobody guarding you. I mean, I guess your coaches are or whatever, but still in game.
Well, yeah, and even when you do have someone guarding you, it's completely different because now you've got the crowd aspect, you've got the pressure. The pressure is on. It's not on in practice. In practice, you're just practicing to get better. In the game, it's go time.
Yeah, true.
Whether you miss or make that shot matters now.
Yeah. Every second matters, every little thing you do. Yeah.
And you look at Oladipo, I think Oladipo's back at this point. I mean, that clutch shot against the Mavericks he made, and he's starting to not force his shots. It gives Steph Curry a little bit more time, and people are going to forget he was ever gone.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think this benefits the Warriors in the long run because once he and Clay are both back and 100% healthy, they're going to have an early draft pick. They're going to have a high-class draft pick. And there's all these talks about what they might do in the offseason and who they could pick up. If they pick someone else up and they get a high draft pick, that's a scary Warriors team once again.
Oh, and I really believe they will be scary again next year.
They absolutely will be.
Yeah.
And what was brought up was, I mean, no teams fear the Lakers and the Clippers or even the Bucks like they did the Golden State Warriors team.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that, and I'm glad we don't have that because I think it makes the league more interesting.
No, it does. Golden State Warriors remind me of the Patriots of the NFL. Like you're just always afraid to face them because it's like you might lose.
I think my feed cut out there for a second, so sorry about that.
Oh yeah, we're good.
But yeah, with the Milwaukee Bucks, for example, I know Giannis has not been playing, but we're seeing some chinks in the armor here. They with Giannis, they lost to the Lakers the other night. Oh. And then with him out, they've now lost 2 straight.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got the loss to the Nuggets, which is an understandable loss without your star player, but they lost to the Phoenix Suns without Giannis.
Oh God, I didn't know about that.
They lost by 9. Yeah, I was trying to get your attention while you guys were live streaming a Mario Party 4 about it, and then you told Dylan to stop interrupting you.
Yeah, I get tired of the shit.
I understand. But no, it was. I was trying to message him. I told him, like, dude, tell Drew they are losing to the Suns by 22 points right now.
Yeah, wow.
I was watching the live stream. It was 50-32. They ended up losing by 9. But man, you've got to look at that as there's all this talk about who's going to be the MVP, and LeBron's starting to make a really strong case. But look at the fact that without Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Milwaukee Bucks cannot defeat the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, well, it's like what we talked about in that last video about,
Yeah, we talked about it last time. Don't get me wrong. LeBron's playing phenomenal right now. He's officially, the Lakers are the only team to defeat a 100% healthy Clippers team.
Yeah.
The NBA is getting interesting right now, and I think with the man on our screen coming back, it's going to get even more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The end of this season, Steph Curry won't make too much of a difference, but next year, I'm telling you, it's going to be a huge difference.
Oh, yeah. And I hear that Kevin Durant's starting to, dunk again. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I think Kevin Durant's going to come back next year. The league's going to get very interesting. The Eastern Conference is going to be interesting next year, and so is the Western Conference, because you're going to have 2 more teams in contention at that point.
Oh, man. We actually don't have this set as a topic, but we should talk about the firing of the Brooklyn coach. Kenny Atkinson?
Yeah, the Brooklyn Nets coach. So let's talk about the fact that in his short time in the league, I believe it was something like he's going to have been playing for 7 seasons. He's had 10 coaches. Kyrie Irving.
I think so.
And somebody brought up a very good point. Should the Brooklyn Nets look to bring in Becky Hammon as a head coach?
Oh man, I would like that.
Take Pop's assistant because she's done a phenomenal job with Pop at her side, and I think she's learning from the right guy, and I think she knows her stuff already, obviously. But I think having him there, she's learning to coach like Pop.
Yeah.
And it makes a big difference because he's arguably the greatest coach of all time. So learning under him, I think she's got the potential to be a great future head coach. And I think, I mean, why not put her with the Brooklyn Nets? She'll let KD and Kyrie go out and do her thing, and she's got a great mind for basketball.
Yeah, I've always said that. Hopefully she'll get her chance. But
Yeah, and there's talks that Kyrie didn't like Kenny Atkinson. And apparently there's talk that the Brooklyn Nets team feel like the energy in the locker room and everything changed for the worse with KD and Kevin Durant coming in. It's KD and Kevin Durant, sorry, KD and Kyrie coming in. It's interesting to hear that because it makes you wonder, well, they're going to be a great team once those two come back, but is the chemistry going to be there? Is it going to be a two-man team at that point?
man, I hope not.
Because if you're supporting players just like are unhappy playing with those guys, it'll make a big difference in how they play.
Yeah, no, that matters, and they got a good supporting crew there. So
Well, and then this is another topic, but it goes head to head with the Milwaukee Bucks because this is the team that will very likely be playing them in the first round. Over the past 11 games, the Orlando Magic are the most offensively efficient team in the NBA.
really,
Yes, they're coming off a win over the Houston Rockets.
and are they pretty close to playoff contention? I think, or
They're in eighth. They're pretty much locked in at this point for eighth seed, either seventh or eighth between them and the Nets. Because I mean, I don't see any team that's right outside of eighth place getting it at this point because none of them are playing too well.
yeah, wow, that's surprising.
Absolutely is, but that's part of it. Now, it's been a good look here talking about the NBA. Now, let's move on to something that I talked to you about last night, and it's the new Los Angeles Rams logo that got leaked.
Look at that.
So, if you did not know that team was the Los Angeles Rams, would you know what that was?
No, not really. I can't even tell
I showed
if
that-
that's an A. Yeah.
I showed this to a coworker, and I showed this to Rebecca. And you know what they both thought it was?
What?
They thought it was an alternate Lakers logo.
Oh, yeah. Makes sense, I guess.
When people cannot tell what your logo is, there's a problem. Not to mention, they had one of the best logos in the NFL.
Yeah. Always have.
Why did they change it? Someone at work told me that they thought that was a strand of gold hair.
No, that's what I think too. Yeah.
It looks like hair. To me, the Rams went from having one of the best logos in all the NFL to, in my opinion, I think they now have the worst logo in the NFL.
I mean, yeah. How would you even describe that?
I saw the greatest comparison, about the greatest explanation for it online. Somebody said the new LA Rams logo looks like South Park couldn't get the rights to use their logo, so they made their own as a joke.
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
That's what it looks like. It looks like a cartoon show of some kind. Couldn't get the rights to the actual LA Rams logo, so they made one themselves.
I mean, not to insult the XFL, but they have better stuff than that. I mean,
Yeah, and they don't even have that great of logos, if we're being
No.
honest. But it just makes me sad because you look at, like I said, the Rams had one of the best logos in the NFL for the longest time. And you look at, you got teams like the Panthers and the Vikings stick out in my mind as having great logos.
yeah.
And then in the NBA, like I was talking about this, to me, as simplistic as it kind of is, one of the probably best logos in all of sports is the Chicago Bulls logo.
Oh, yeah. I mean, sometimes simple is just best. Really.
But this is simple to a fault. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's they didn't even try. Like, they're not even trying to tell you what it is. I really, really hope that they go back on it and change it. But apparently there's already been hats and gear made with this logo on it.
Ouch. Well, they're
Yeah.
simple, and then there's just generic.
And that's what this is. This is generic. This is, you get on NBA 2K20
Yeah.
or you get on Madden NFL 20 and you make a logo for your created team. This is the logo you come up with. It looks like it was made in MS Paint.
Yeah, which would be fine for if that's what the case was, but... Ooh.
But this was made by a professional sports organization.
Oh, man.
It's not good, man.
No.
And I'm big on logos. And
Yeah.
like I love team logos. I love like when a team logo like just sticks out to you. Like the Pacers P. Simple. in a good way.
Yeah.
That is an iconic
Love
logo.
it, yeah.
You've got, the old Utah Jazz logo with the mountains. It makes sense. Now, we won't get into the fact that the Utah Jazz makes no sense.
Yeah, we know. That's a whole nother subject for another day. But
Yep. But, the Utah Jazz logo, it works. You've got the Boston Celtics logo, iconic. Phenomenal logo.
yeah.
You got all these different teams that have all these great logos, and the Rams were one of those teams for the longest time. I always loved the Ram that they had. I thought it was great. The color scheme, the actual picture, everything. I see this, and this is just lazy.
Well, and it's like, why did they change it? I mean, if you were the Raiders and you were going to Las Vegas, I get it, but...
Yeah, but even then, the Raiders logo, the Raiders is another really good, iconic logo.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, yeah.
But can you imagine if they, changed their logo to just, it was just black and silver, and it just said LV with a little eye patch over the V? You would have no idea what the heck you were looking at. That's essentially what this is.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's just ridiculous to me, man. You if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This was not broke, and now it is.
Yeah. Well,
I know we're getting worked up over a logo, but man, it's atrocious to me.
well, and don't mess with tradition,
No, I get that sometimes you want to change things up, but sometimes change is just not the right way to go.
Yeah.
And I think in this case it was definitely not the right way to go.
No, not at all.
Oh man, I think that's about all I have to say about that one. So moving on to AEW, there's a new AEW champion, and Dynamite pretty good last week, kicking the show with Jon Moxley and Chris Jericho. I thought they were really well off the mic together, and Jon Moxley as AEW champion is phenomenal. His renewed spirit for pro wrestling in AEW.
Oh,
he did a great job, and his war on the entire Inner Circle, and then Jericho's promo was just perfection.
Well, of course, I couldn't hear any of that because I was trying to get a live stream going, and that was a complete failure. But you can tell us about it if you want.
Well, there was to me it reminded me of Jericho's conspiracy theory victim from WCW promo.
Oh yeah.
Because he came out and was talking about how Moxley couldn't beat him fair and square. He said, "What you need to understand is I spent the better part of 3 months preparing to face someone that only had one working eye." He said, "And then it turned out you could see the entire time."
Yeah.
And that's effectively cheating.
You're an imposter.
Yeah, you're an imposter. You cheated. That was just phenomenal. He's the whiny Jericho that we all know and love.
Oh, exactly.
I think AEW is doing phenomenal. And then you have the new faction of the Death Triangle with Phoenix, Pentagon, and Pac. What do you think of that stable? I think that's going to be an interesting. It's a very good group. Yeah. I think you could realistically have that group take over AEW.
I think you could, but if Inner Circle's not around, maybe. But if they're both around,
well, my thing is, you could easily tell the story where these three got together because they're fed up.
Yeah.
Pac is right up there with contention. I could easily see him being the guy to take the belt off of Moxley. Wow. And Phoenix and Pentagon winning the tag titles at some point seems inevitable.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
I think it almost works more trying to have the Death Triangle win the gold for AEW versus the Inner Circle, because you have, 5 members in the Inner Circle? I think it just doesn't work because you're going to have 2 odd guys out no matter what.
I don't think they really need it, to be honest. I mean,
they don't. I think their group itself works, and I think the whole point of Jericho saying, I don't need a belt to still be Le Champion, that summed up the whole point of the group to me, is they're champions whether they have the belts or not.
Oh, they are. Yeah. They're like the corner piece of the show. Very entertaining.
They are. They're very entertaining. I think AEW did a great job last week. I still think the women's division needs a little bit of work. I wasn't a big fan of the Big Swole match.
Not a fan of the.
It felt
not a fan of the name either, quite frankly.
Not a fan of the name either. I think I don't know. I felt like it was a pretty lackluster contest. I can't even remember who she faced, to be honest.
Me either.
I just know it wasn't really all that good. In my opinion, of course, that's the thing about pro wrestling is it's all subjective based off of what you enjoy.
Yeah.
But to me, it just wasn't very good. I don't know. There was definitely some lackluster stuff with the women's division. But AEW as a whole, I'm really enjoying. How about the Jake the Snake surprise?
Yeah, that was surprising. Nobody saw that coming, I don't think.
Nobody saw that coming, but it was great, and I loved his promo. If you ever had any questions or not, Jake the Snake could still kill on the mic. It was answered last Wednesday.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was very interesting.
And I loved the theme of his promo where he came out and I saw this thing and it was like Jake the Snake Roberts promo on AEW, and it was this like PowerPoint from some business meeting or something. It says everyone's doing a great job except Cody.
Oh, yeah, basically.
And that was kind of his promo, and I loved his, you're gonna whine like a little bitch out here. Pardon my language, but that's exactly what he said.
Oh, that's a quote.
And the tease of his client, and then I loved a wise man once told me to never turn your back on someone you respect, and he turned his back on him as he said it.
Oh wow, yeah, I didn't catch that. And
yeah, it was just great, and I think it's meant to like try and bring in the renewed spirit of Cody. But the question is, who is this client that Jake the Snake teased?
Man, I don't know.
I'm seeing a lot of rumors online that it might be Brody Lee, formerly known as Luke Harper.
Yeah, that could be interesting. That's an interesting little duo.
I think it would work giving him Jake the Snake as his his agent cutting his promos for him. And then there's also the rumors of maybe it's Lance Archer.
Oh man. Yeah, no, that could happen too. Oh, what's that?
I think either of those two is a pretty sensible conclusion to come to.
Yeah. Because I don't know who else really.
I can't think of who else. I don't see it being Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy doesn't need a manager.
No, not at all. No. He's great by himself. He can do whatever he wants, as we all know.
Of course. Speaking of great.
Delightful.
Speaking of great, though, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF. I love watching this guy. His promo backstage where he takes the jacket and he has the Cody shirt, reminiscent of the old Funk Dusty Sucks Egg shirt. And how cocky he was about his Cody, that he's only 20 years old. He's younger than
I know. Yeah.
And he had a character. That's the guy that you strap on that guy's back.
Yeah, you definitely do. He's incredible.
Push him.
It's one of the greatest acts I have seen in a very long time.
Long time, absolutely. I for the most is the only actual way to watch. I keep up with what's going on in WWE. At this point, but AEW is pro wrestling. I go way to watch anymore, and it's just he's a big.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah. And I feel bad that I stretched the picture and made him look a little fat, because he's not fat.
No, he's in phenomenal shape. They're denying that. I don't think anybody that watches this is going to think.
Know. I just feel bad.
But he also made headlines. He made headlines for that thing they had for flipping off a 7-year-old child. And he apparently upset the kid real bad, and people were going online, and there's a lot of mixed opinions about it. There's the whole, you're not really a good heel if you have to flip off a little kid to get heat. Then there's the people being like, no, he's in character. He's doing this, he's doing that. Then there's the people, well, at the end of the day, it's crossing a line. It's a little kid. Little kid came up there to see him. He shouldn't have done that. I'm of the opinion it was you paid to go see that wrestler.
Yeah.
As a parent, as a parent, you knew what wrestler you were taking your kid to go see, and he's notorious for stuff like this.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You know the type of person this guy is. What do you expect him to just be different because he's part of this little event here, or?
He's in character no matter what. At that point, as a parent, if you didn't want that, you shouldn't have brought your kid to go see that.
Yeah, kayfabe's not dead to MJF.
Ooh. No, and that's good, and it's refreshing to see that in today's day and age. You've got a guy who genuinely cares about the business, and it shows. He's a very old school heel.
Yeah, and old Uncle Jimmy Cornette loves him.
And there's a reason. Yeah. Jim Cornette is definitely controversial with wrestling opinions, but this is one that I will wholeheartedly agree with him about. I think MJF is phenomenal. But moving on to some other pro wrestling. WWE just had its pay-per-view, The Elimination Chamber.
Oh, yes.
And controversy in the main event. Drew, let's hear your opinion about the main event.
Oh, man. Well, to me, okay, the match it did not need to happen. It was very predictable. Maybe they just booked everything wrong. Maybe they should have had the whole Shayna biting Becky's neck after this event, maybe. But everything was just booked really weird. It made it very obvious that Shayna was going to win. If anybody else won that match, it wasn't going to make any sense. So it was a complete waste of time. And put it in the main event, the very last match of the show, and everybody's forced to just sit there and see the inevitable happen. I mean, come on.
So what did you think of the actual match itself? I guess I should be asking.
Because,
Shayna just kind of tore through everybody was what I saw.
Yeah, she tore through them. There were, awkward moments of her just pacing around the ring when the previous chick would be eliminated and there'd be nobody in there but her, and she would just be waiting for the next person to come out. It was just really bizarre.
Now, I will give my opinion on this. Keep in mind, I've only seen little bits and pieces of what went down. But I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Okay?
Oh, boy. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that the booking of this match was the right way to go about it.
Yeah.
I think that having Shayna Baszler just tear through everybody, making it a very one-sided affair, was the right way to go about it. Becky Lynch has held the belt since last WrestleMania, and there's not been a single time in her title reign where it looked like she was in danger, if we're being quite honest. And with Shayna Baszler, she tore through NXT. Every time you thought somebody's going to win, nope, Shayna Baszler put him to sleep, or Shayna Baszler tapped him out. Shayna Baszler, let's not forget, is a legit fighter. She was in the UFC. She is a fighter. Oh. So, as far as I'm concerned, having her go out there, bringing her to the main roster at the Royal Rumble and not having her win, you had to do this. If you didn't have her win the Rumble, you had to have her decimate everyone in that Elimination Chamber match, because then you have to go, well, there's no freaking denying who gets the title shot against Becky Lynch at this point. Do I agree that maybe they shouldn't have done the biting Becky up until after this? Yeah, I can agree they made it a little obvious, but here's the thing. It was going to be obvious no matter what.
Yeah. No,
You don't bring Shayna freaking Baszler up to the main roster to not have her go against Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. And you certainly don't have her go out there and before WrestleMania look vulnerable.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I will play devil's advocate. That was the right way to book the match. Should it have been main event? Maybe not.
I just thought it was really weird and bizarre, but yeah, no, I agree. And I like her.
But then also having that as the main event
that was
puts her over.
Okay. Yeah.
That's another way of looking at it is you have that main event. You have that close the Elimination Chamber that way. Man, Becky Lynch closed out WrestleMania last year, barely eking out a win over Ronda Rousey. And then you have the Elimination Chamber right before WrestleMania closes with there wasn't a woman in the chamber that Shayna Baszler looked like she was in trouble with.
Oh, that's a good point.
I think it was the right booking personally. Now, you want to talk about booking it the wrong way. Another person who just lopsided is Goldberg defeating Bray as quickly as he did, the same way he defeated Kevin Owens a few years ago. There's no denying that. This picture here shows the absolute truth.
Oh, man.
2017 repeated itself.
Oh, it really did.
Because think about this for a second. Goldberg defeated Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
Came out, said, the question is, who's next? Roman Reigns came out and said, well, I'm next.
Oh, good enough.
And the title match was booked. 2017. Goldberg defeated Kevin Owens for the championship. Came out on Raw. And Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman said, we already lost to you at Survivor Series in a minute, and then you eliminated Brock as soon as he got in the ring at Royal Rumble. We want a title shot. Okay. And that's how the title shot was.
Yeah, that's the problem with this company.
It was booked the exact same way.
Some people don't have to earn certain things, and then others do. So then it's like, why did Shayna have to earn a title shot then?
That's the thing about WWE's booking, is there's no rhyme or reason behind it. But one thing I will say is I called it last week.
Yeah.
I said Sami Zayn was walking out of the Elimination Chamber event as Intercontinental Champion.
Oh, I didn't see it coming, to be honest. I thought that Braun would just dominate and retain. Yeah.
I had a feeling it was going to be him. Now, the question is, where do you go for WrestleMania with this? Do you continue this storyline? Do you make it a fatal four-way at WrestleMania? Do you just do Sami versus Braun? So, to me, this Intercontinental title storyline that we've got going on, by the way, is way too familiar.
Oh, why is that?
With Bobby Lashley and Finn Balor. Finn Balor wins the Intercontinental title. There's a series of handicap matches. He loses it back, then wins it back again at WrestleMania. Well, Braun Strowman won the Intercontinental title. There's a handicap match. He loses it. Bet he wins it back at WrestleMania.
Yeah. No, I thought that too. I thought maybe he could win it back at Mania, as stupid as that is. But
it's a waste of a title reign at that point.
Yeah. But John Cena had like what, 10 of them in 2009?
He did.
Still.
He did, but it's becoming common at this point, especially with the title kind of old.
You can't treat titles like that.
No, I get the whole argument, the prop, that Vince Russo says, but the title is the main prop.
Yeah.
The title is what everyone's fighting for, whether it's the Intercontinental or the World title. And if people are just bouncing it back left and right, it loses its prestige.
No, it does. It's like, who wants to have that if it's just all over the place? And everybody and their brother has it.
Yeah, it loses its value after a little while. But I think we're getting the exact storyline we did last year, and Braun will probably win it back.
Yeah, I agree. I count on it.
Yep. I would say still the Edge and Orton and fucking McIntyre storylines are the only ones that are exciting to me as a match. Yeah, AJ on Raw, from what I saw, pretty cool. But I don't know how I feel about the whole. It's reality, so I don't we Mystique Taker.
Yeah. See, that's.
I don't know, reference by his real name and then bringing Michelle McCool into the mix. Like, yeah, it made for like a ooh moment, but like it kills the mystique of the character.
Yeah, that's probably why he shouldn't have stuck around as long as he has.
Yeah, because at this point, that's what you got to do to work a promo around him. Yeah, and that's why it's kind of hard for me to stay interested in this one, is he's stuck around far too long.
No, unfortunately, it has at least 5 years too long, at least.
At least, yeah. He should have left after the Roman Reigns match.
Yeah.
But, man. Yeah, well.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Well, the return of the greatest show of all time, new crappy logo, some great action in AEW, and some cluster WrestleMania build. That'll about wrap for this week's edition of A Chat with the Packs. Thank you all for tuning in. A little bit short this week, but we'll be right back at you next week with some more podcast in action. Thank you for tuning in. Is there any parts?
Go Drew McIntyre. Yeah.
Go Drew McIntyre. Well, that'll be the send-off message. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
All right, bye-bye.